Hey, hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Autumn Ashley, and this is going to be the third and final vlog in my plotting diaries series. In this vlog, I am going to be just wrapping up everything that has to do with plotting out my third fantasy project. Do I like you there? We're just gonna put these over here. I am gonna go donate blood today, so I am excited about that. I have about 15 minutes before I need to leave, but I wanted to talk about how the plotting is going and what I plan on focusing on for this video. For the last two videos, I feel like they've been a little, I don't wanna say chaotic or all over the place, but really, that's kind of how they've been. They've been a little chaotic and all over the place. The way I've been plotting has just been so different from the way I've plotted in the past, and I'm really enjoying the way that I'm plotting. So if this is the first video you're seeing of mine, or you're not sure what the heck I'm talking about, for this project, which is a fantasy project, the things that I'm focusing on while plotting this story is the main plot and some of the subplots, characters, the character arcs, and something that Brandon Sanderson calls your promise, your progress, and your payoff. Been really concentrating on those things and trying to kind of bebop around with those ideas. With this project, I've also been focusing less on world building and the magic system and the setting. And the reason I've chosen to not focus on that as much and it's taken more of a backseat is because I am one of those people that gets immersed in that stuff, and I feel like it can take away from the main plot, developing the characters, and more productive and more important parts of the story. Not that setting, world building, magic, not that any of that is not as interesting. If I nail down my characters and I understand the plot and what my characters are going to accomplish, I think I can weave in the magic system and figure out how to make that happen. And I can also understand the world a little bit better once I think I understand my characters and what they're trying to do, and then create the world around them, if that makes sense. So while yes, I haven't been focusing on the world building as much as I have in the past with my previous projects, that doesn't mean that it's any less important. I just know for me and my sake, I need to make sure that I discipline myself with worrying about world building and that kind of stuff. Hopefully for the next couple of weeks, which I have given myself a loose deadline with when I want to finish plotting to then start drafting. I wanted to give myself until the end of February to get as much outlining done as possible before I jumped into drafting. I'm taking a different approach with this story because I am structuring it where I'm giving myself, I say deadlines, that word sounds like super harsh, but giving myself, you know, something to work towards. So in the past, I haven't taken the time to give myself a deadline, to make sure I sit down and to make sure that I do the writing and I get some stuff done. In the past, it's just been, oh, we get to it when we get to it. But the reason I'm giving myself deadlines and loose deadlines is to, one, get used to working with a deadline, and then I think working with a deadline will help me be more productive in my writing sessions. So I'll know, okay, I have to do this in this writing session, or I have this intention with this writing session, things like that. So that's the whole point of me talking about the deadline, how that's going. Well, I don't think I talked about how the deadline's going. How is that going while I'm on that topic? I think the deadline's going pretty well. I have been doing the best that I can with staying on top of that deadline, and I think giving myself a month and a half of time was perfect. Really, I could have given myself 2 full months or maybe 3 months to outline, which might be something I can take into consideration with the next project that I will work on whenever that happens. I think a month and a half is a decent amount of time, but with my work schedule and trying to work around that and trying to block off time to do writing and block off time to do personal things, it has been challenging, which was also the point with the deadline, was to challenge myself. But sometimes I think because I pick up extra shifts at work, you know, that cuts into writing time, but I also need to work because I have to pay for things. In the future, giving myself maybe a 2-month deadline or a 3-month deadline will really help me solidify the outline before diving into drafting. Obviously, I'm still working on outlining the story, but I just wanted to talk about making my deadline and how that's going so far. I think it's been fair. There's been some upsides, there's been some downsides. And something that I'm telling myself with the world building, going back to talking about that, is less is more right now with the world building. Plot and character, that's what I'm most concerned about at the moment. I don't think this story itself is a very complicated story. I think it's a very fun, simple story, but I think what is going to make it, I don't want to say different, but what is going to make it my own, what's going to make it unique for me, is how I'm going to be putting those characters into this world. But now that I've talked for about 10 minutes, we are going to mosey on to donate blood and to help make this world a better place. So I will see you all when I get home, and hopefully I can get a little bit of writing done later today. I actually did 30 minutes of plotting this morning. It had been a few days since I had sat down to work on my story, so I didn't get too much done, mainly just going through my notes, going through my plot grid that I made. When I come home, I would like to do at least another hour. I'm finished donating blood. The next time I can donate is in April, so I'll be able to do that then. I feel totally fine. We're great. We're vibing. Let's grab a food source, actual food, and I'll see you guys at home. Since my last update, which was, I think, just a little bit of B-roll going on the adventure of donating blood, well, I ended up not writing at all on that day. And last week, which was the week that I had donated blood, it was the first week of starting this vlog, I only did 30 minutes of writing last week. I have yet to do writing this week. Do you guys ever feel completely and totally overwhelmed and it's been like layers upon layers for a few weeks? Sometimes it's a few years, but in this case, it's a few weeks of things that have been going on in my personal life. And when you reach your max capacity, you're completely overwhelmed. Somehow there's like other layers that keep stacking on to your max, and you just need a break. Even though writing is my escape and it's what I use to help alleviate the stress in my life, sometimes when you just reach a certain level of you need a timeout or you need a reset, or at least for me, my reset is reading books, doing puzzles, doing face masks, going for a walk, and being more active, and things that are like my other hobbies that aren't writing related. This is probably not making any sense, but I just wanted to talk about it. I just went through that. Like, I just went through layers upon layers of things that have just been building up and have been causing me a lot of anxiety, and I had like reached a breaking point where I just needed a reset. So last week I didn't do any plotting. Lies. I did 30 minutes of plotting, and that was when I realized where I was like, I'm too overwhelmed and I'm thinking about other things right now that are taking away from writing. And so I ended up taking a break. And I don't normally do that, and like that's not something where every time I hit a roadblock or a speed bump or something, I give up with my writing. You have to push through things, but I think there's a time where you have to push through it, and then there are times where you need to step away. And that was what I did last week, and you guys, it was the best little mini break that I could have asked for myself. I started a puzzle. I have yet to finish that puzzle, but I watched Tangled, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2. I finished reading a book and I started reading 3 other books. I'm like 80% through with one of those books, 50% through with one of them, and then the audiobook, I'm just, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes into it out of a few hours. It was the best. And also something else that I like to do when I'm stressed is clean. And you guys, this apartment is sparkling. I feel so much better, and I think I had been pushing myself really, really hard for I think since the beginning of the year, and I think that's kind of my limit, you know, like 6 weeks of like going really, really strong, and then maybe taking a week or two lighter just to find my center, to just make sure I'm taking time for myself. Even though I consider writing taking time for myself, it's always good to just don't feel like you always have to do things. But I'm excited to get back to this vlog and to get back to writing my story and to plotting. There's a few things that I need to do today. Hopefully I can get back into writing. How are you guys doing? How's your mental health doing? How's your projects doing? I wanted to share this with you guys, not so much to complain as it might feel like I'm coming across, but I want my writing journey to be real. It's not always sunshine, butterflies, rainbows, all the great things. Sometimes you need to know that we all struggle, and we all struggle with different things, and it doesn't invalidate your own struggles, and it doesn't invalidate my struggles. So hello, let's wrap this vlog up. I have officially finished plotting and outlining and getting as much ready for the story as I possibly can. So I want to come on here and do an overview of the setting slash world building slash magic system. Really, the plot and the characters were like neck and neck, and then the world building, the setting, and the magic system, and it's been as much time on. And there's a reason for that. My world building, the setting, and the magic system. Now, all of this stuff, I did not go hardcore with it. I didn't do a whole bunch of world building. I did not do a wild, crazy setting or make a tight magic system with a lot of limitations, because I've done that in the past. And I felt like it has kind of been a brick wall in my writing and with drafting the story. So with the world building, and what I mean by world building, what does the world look like? Pretty much, I know this story takes place in an extremely cold climate, but it's starting to thaw because of unknown reasons. So I know at certain points in the story to show the snow melting, to show trees that are green and it's not normal. So I have a certain little things like that that will help the plot and will help the characters like interact with the world. I know that my characters will start in a castle and they will flee the castle. They're on this certain road that also has a name, and then they end up in a different location and they're pretty much hiding out in an abandoned fort in the mountains. And that's pretty much all I know. I've got names of a few of these places, but I haven't mapped out anything. I want to leave that to my imagination when I am drafting this story. And the same with the magic system. The magic system with this story, it's animal magic. So they can have familiars, they can be shapeshifters, and there's 3 different tiers of magic. So not everybody can shapeshift, or not everybody has familiars, or can do another like low type of magic. So I have 3 magics, like 3 tiers of the magic system, and limitations of that. What are the drawbacks of using these this magic and the certain tiers. I have how they can get the magic and how the magic interacts with the world and with the characters, and the characters that do not have any type of magic. That's all I have for the magic, the setting, and the world building, because I want those elements to be discovered as I'm drafting. In the past, when I've had set magic and when I've had a set world, like hard barriers, it made it difficult to write because it was too much. It was too over the top with all of those 3 things. So I decided to take it a little bit easier on that with the first draft to see what I can come up with and to understand the magic and how it is in the world. Brandy Sandy has a great way of explaining the magic and the magic system. I'm gonna forget the exact wording, but I'll throw it up on the screen. But it's something like your magic system is only as interesting as the characters who use it. And to me, that's just the best advice ever. I felt like spending time on characters, spending time on the plot of the story, and then having them use the magic, then I can figure out a way to make it all connect in a much better way. We're ready to start drafting now. And I want to talk about my game plan for this project, but I'm gonna do that in a whole separate video. We're completely done with the plotting diaries. I hope that you enjoyed this little mini series. In the next video that I will be throwing up next week, it should be next week, I think, I'm going to be discussing the game plan for this story, deadlines, and all of that cool, exciting, writing the first draft of this project stuff. With that, thank you guys so much for watching this video and this series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to be part of my writing journey, I would greatly appreciate it because we are about to get into the good stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.